There are games that test how fast you can react. And then there are games that test how well you can think. For a lot of players in the late 1990s, that difference became clear the moment they picked up Metal Gear Solid. Before it, most games rewarded movement, speed, aggression. You pushed forward, you cleared enemies, you progressed by force. Metal Gear Solid didn't reward force, it punished it. From the very first moments, it asked something different of you, not quick reactions, but awareness. You weren't charging into rooms, you were stopping outside them, watching, listening, trying to understand what was happening before making a move. And that shift, as simple as it sounds, changed everything. Because suddenly the game wasn't about what your hands could do, it was about what your mind could process. The radar became your most important tool, not a weapon, not an upgrade, information. You studied it constantly, enemy positions, movement patterns, cones of vision. It wasn't just there to help you, it became part of how you thought. You weren't reacting to enemies anymore, you were predicting them, waiting for the right moment, timing your movements carefully. And when you got it right, when you slipped through an area without being seen, it didn't feel like victory in the traditional sense. It felt like solving something, like you had understood the system. That feeling, that sense of understanding, is what made Metal Gear Solid different, because games rarely made you feel intelligent. They made you feel skilled. Metal Gear Solid blurred that line. It made intelligence part of the experience. And once you experienced that, it changed how you approached other games. The environments were designed with intention. Every shadow mattered. Every corner mattered. Every vent, every wall, every gap in the environment had a purpose. They weren't just background details. They were opportunities, places to hide, places to wait, places to plan your next move. You weren't just moving through levels. You were reading them, understanding their layout, learning how enemies interacted with the space. And that learning created a deeper connection to the game, because you weren't just progressing, you were adapting. There's also something important about how the game handled failure. If you were spotted, everything changed instantly. The calm disappeared. The music intensified. Enemies flooded the area. Control was lost. That sudden shift from stealth to chaos reinforced the core idea of the game. You weren't supposed to be seen, and when you were, it felt like you had made a mistake, not just lost a mechanic. That emotional reaction is important, because it means the game successfully taught you its rules. Not through tutorials, but through consequence. And once you understood those rules, your behavior changed. You became slower, more deliberate, more thoughtful. And that's where the game's brilliance really shows. Because it didn't just challenge you, it changed you. The story added another layer entirely. At a time when many games treated narrative as secondary, Metal Gear Solid made it central. Long cutscenes, detailed conversations, characters with motivations, histories, and personalities. It wasn't just a backdrop, it was part of the experience, and that made everything feel more meaningful. You weren't sneaking through levels for points, you were doing it for context, for purpose, and that purpose gave weight to your actions. Even something as simple as avoiding a guard felt important, because it was connected to a larger narrative. There's also the way the game played with expectations. Boss fights weren't always about strength, they were about understanding. Each encounter asked something different of you: adaptation, observation, patience, sometimes even thinking outside the game itself. Those moments stood out because they broke routine. They forced you to stop and think differently, and that unpredictability kept the experience fresh. It never felt repetitive. It felt evolving. Metal Gear Solid also understood pacing. It wasn't constant tension. It allowed moments of calm, moments where nothing happened, moments where you could think, and those quiet moments made the intense ones more effective. Because tension isn't just about pressure, it's about contrast. And the game balanced that perfectly. There's also something very specific about playing it in that era. A PlayStation connected to a TV, a quiet room, no constant notifications, no distractions, just you and the game. And in that environment, the experience felt focused, almost immersive in a way that's harder to replicate now. You weren't multitasking, you were present. And Metal Gear Solid demanded that presence, because if you lost focus, even for a moment, you were caught. That demand for attention is part of why it felt smart. It required engagement, not just participation. Looking back now, the graphics are dated. The character models are simple. The environments are less detailed than memory suggests. But the design still works, because thinking doesn't age. Understanding systems doesn't age. Problem solving doesn't age. The game's core ideas are still strong, because they're built on interaction rather than spectacle. Metal Gear Solid didn't try to overwhelm you visually. It tried to engage you mentally, and that engagement created memory. Players remember specific moments where they got stuck, where they figured something out, where they realized what the game was asking of them. And those moments feel personal, because they come from understanding, not just progression. That's what makes a game feel smart. Not complexity for the sake of it, but clarity in its design, consistency in its rules, and trust in the player's ability to learn. Metal Gear Solid trusted the player. It didn't simplify everything. It didn't remove challenge. It expected you to think, and when you did, it rewarded you, not with spectacle, but with satisfaction. That quiet satisfaction of knowing you figured it out, that you understood something others might not, and that feeling stays with you, because it's not just about the game, it's about you. It's about how you approached it, how you adapted, how you learned. That's why so many players look back on Metal Gear Solid as something more than just a game. It was an experience, a shift, a moment where gaming felt different, more thoughtful, more deliberate, more intelligent. And once that expectation existed, it changed everything that came after. Because players had seen what was possible, they had experienced a game that respected their intelligence. And they wanted more of that. Not just faster gameplay, not just bigger explosions, but smarter design, better systems, more meaningful interaction. Metal Gear Solid didn't just deliver that, it defined it. And that's why it still matters. Not because it was the most advanced game of its time, but because it made players feel something rare. It made them feel smart.
But a magic